Good evening and welcome to another scene in the living world of darkness, the Camarilla and Art venue. We start our scene below ground, uh, quite a bit below ground. Um, Theodore is just sitting, watching the quite, quite battered and bruised body of his clanmate. And, well, some of the news he's been getting, some of the things he's been hearing. He's not very well pleased, but this is not the first time he has been in a situation that is like this. So it may suck, sure, but he just sits there for a moment. Two large jugs. He's just puts them on the table or on the floor. Damien's body is lying in a couch, which he really doesn't hope gets mangled as he wakes up, but oh well. He's just looking at it and just looking at it and just puts the jugs fairly close to him. And just, well, drink up, young lad. And he opens his wrist and pours. He in his one of his hands he has a steak because of things. He pours 2 blood points worth of blood into his mouth and opens one of the jugs, the cover. Within a couple of moments, Damien will feel like he's been under very almost oil, like cold, very very dark water, and just almost not conscious. And he's suddenly yanked up from it, and you can see a fairly dimly lit room. It's probably underground, and you are thirsty, so thirsty that I would like you to roll a self-control roll.
Yep. Du-du-du-du. I pause it, depending on difficulty, by the way.
It is difficult, but you smell, even though you smell the smell of blood very close to you, which will probably mean the jug he's just opened. You can that's one of the first things you become aware of is that there's blood very, very close to you.
And go on, sorry.
I'm guessing that it might be something you would do.
Oh yeah, he would. He takes the jug and jugs it down.
Sure.
Exactly.
It takes a while. The potents, like your entire body, your entire being is just focused on getting as much of that lovely stuff down your throat. And this is like a couple of gallons worth. So it's like the jug. It's probably not full, but it is like 4 blood points when you're done.
Yeah. Good. How much of that can I spend to heal?
As much as you like. Of course, you had like 2.
Yeah, I think I had 3, but yeah, that's
3.
fine.
So you got up to 5, but let's say that you began healing almost immediately, or tried to.
Yeah.
So you have like 9 in your system by now.
Okay, so if I use 3 of those if I use 4 of those to heal, then I am back down to 2 lethal damage.
Which will help also with keeping your composure.
Exactly. And that leaves me with 5 blood points.
It's only now that you notice that Theodore is sitting on the other side of another jug that is not opened yet. He's just sitting, watching you fairly intently, and you can see he has a steak in his hand.
And Damien like breathes heavily and quickly and looks around. The last thing he remembers was fighting in the streets of Harlem, and now I'm guessing they're in a sewer or something like that, or sewer system anyway.
They're in a room that is. It's not finely decorated, but it's actually fairly. There's some decor, and there's a television. There's some things. Sure, there's a bit of things.
Okay, so he once he like realizes that he's not where he was before, he notices Theodore and says, "Did we win? Is Harlem safe?"
Relax. Are you still thirsty?
Yes.
Theodore just nods very, very lightly and just opens the other jug and just passes it to you.
And he chug again. Is it still 4 blood points?
This is also 4 blood points, yes.
Then I will use 2 of those blood points to heal the remaining 2 damage, and then I'm at 7 blood. And he puts the jug down and again, "Thank you," he says.
No need to thank me. We are family.
Where is Ghost? I need to find her.
I do not know. Details are quite scarce at the moment, as you can probably understand.
He nods. Yes.
But I know the two of you are close friends. I know that you are, well, stood together.
He nods. We go way back to our respective embraces back in the old country.
I'm aware. But right now, your first instinct should be to analyze the situation. And probably secure our safety.
He nods. As the more like now that his thirst has been clenched and he's healed again, he starts to become a little bit more functional, and he says, "Yes, yes. What do we know? The last thing I remember," he says, was, "I don't know who those fuckers were, but they saw through my." I can't remember. Would they refer to the disciplines by the same names as we do?
Not sure. But from what I've heard from Le Shores,
Oh, that was an OOC question, though. Sorry.
yeah, they would.
Okay, so those fuckers saw right through my obfuscate. I don't know how that happened, but
It is quite possible for some. Tell me, do you know of Auspex?
I know that what is his kindred lore? His kindred lore is 1. No, he probably knows that it exists, but not.
It is a quite potent discipline. It sharpens the mind, and sometimes is able to break through our very, very capable methods of hiding.
Wow.
So,
yeah, what I remember is those two of those fuckers turning on me, seeing right through my cloak, so to speak, and that is basically all I remember before I blacked out, and now I'm here.
Well, you were delivered to me by Mr. Le Shores, member of Clan Toreador.
You know, I know of the man. He's a decent individual for a Toreador. I'm not surprised he did that.
Quite so. You can hear him chuckle a bit. As he just does. Well, he said that he killed 2 individuals that came and ambushed you. Well, the group, after you had taken care of the people in riot gear, is that what they called it?
He nods, yes.
You recognize one of them.
Oh? Did he
You can see
say...
his. You can see his grip. Or he's just grabbing the a little bit tighter around the stake. And he's looking at you and just the former hound, Emily Stevenson, with someone who is now dead, who was Falkland, and another that looked quite similar to her. From his assumption, it was her sister or something. It would appear that she is a traitor and should be dealt with as such.
Damien, like, he sits quiet for a moment and then he clenches his fists. And then he says, I don't believe that Emily would turn like that. Wow.
Well, we must always be vigilant. And deterioration of one's moral fiber can happen quite fast. Especially if it is indeed someone who is family to her.
You totally roboted there too, especially with, and then you blacked out.
Okay. Is this better?
No. Let's see if it's on my end. Closing down Steam, closing down anything unnecessary. Try again.
How about now? Is this better?
Yeah, now it works.
All right. Well, deterioration of our beliefs can be quite fast, especially if sensible subjects are brought up. From what I've heard, if this is true, if this is her sister and they've been separated for a long time, or some other family member, that might have awakened certain things.
He nods.
Maybe she is manipulated. From what I've heard, she was not necessarily the best of manipulators herself. Maybe she either is or was prone to emotional manipulation.
Well,
it has happened before.
I worked with her a couple of times. I did not know her that well personally. That's another reason, by the way, that we should find Ghost, because she knew her. She knows her at least better than I do. They seem to have an understanding between them, while Emily was still loyal to the Camarilla.
Please. Relax. The Shores told me one other thing.
Oh?
Ghost was incapacitated. And her body was taken by this Emily. Roll frenzy.
Yep. I didn't need to say a word. Yep, just as I expected. That's a botch. Damien.
Yeah, go ahead.
Damien, like at the first couple of seconds, he just like sits there with a low growling noise, and then it turns. I'm not gonna do that because I value your hearing. But then he turns into a monstrous, an inhuman, monstrous, eerie scream that is. It's lucky that they're like below ground when he stands up. and the first thing that he sees that isn't no, actually, the first thing he sees, he will grab and smash if he can.
That will be the
He
poor
rages out
sofa.
of control.
That would be the poor sofa. Do you wish to roll for it, or Theodore is going to do something, but I don't know if you want to roll for it.
Yeah, why the fuck not? That's a strength something roll. I don't know.
No, it's the thing is Theodore is going to stake you.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
So he's going to try to, at least.
Yeah.
He's going to roll. That is actually one success.
Yeah.
And he has, oh wait, that's like one for the stake, strength. And then, yeah, he has, that's, well, one success here, and plus a couple of more, 4, actually. So could you soak, please?
Yep. Stamina. Here we go. I actually soak it. Wow.
You
Depending on
soak
how.
2, but
Yeah.
you get 3 lethal. Or
Yeah.
he does inflict with 4 more, so that's 5, and you soak 2.
Yeah.
So you actually do get staked.
Okay.
Because it's 2 or 3 or more in the heart.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it takes 2.
But he will just stake you, and you'll just kind of slip down. A little while goes by.
Yeah, he saw it coming, I guess.
Yeah, again, he was grabbing that stake rather tightly. Let's just say that. He is. You come to yourself a little while later, and Theodore is just standing there with his arms crossed across his chest or around his front, and the stake is still in hand, and he just stands there and looks at you. He doesn't. Well, you can't see his face, but just looks at you.
Yeah. Can I use a willpower to resist this frenzy?
At this point, you can spend a willpower, and the difficulty is somewhat lowered.
Okay, good.
It,
Yeah, well, he will spend. I'm guessing that I still have to roll to frenzy because I was cut off in the middle, but spending the willpower should help. Yeah, I'm glad I did.
No,
so
the difficulty is 6, so you actually have 3 successes.
Okay, so he when he comes to himself, he feels the rage boiling again, but this time he manages to use his force of will to push the boiling pot down again, the boiling water in the pot down again, and closes his eyes, taking actually as a matter of as a force of habit from his breathing days, taking several deep breaths. I'm okay now. I apologize.
He just stands there.
Have we received any demands, ransom, anything?
Not as far as I know. Would you mind if I sit down?
Of course. Yeah, of course.
He sits down and he takes off his hat and his goggles and begins to unwrap his face.
Oh shit!
and Damien has not seen this before.
I haven't.
And haven't you?
I think I saw his face when we were in the sewers.
That is true. That is true. But this lovely visage comes to mind, and he just looks at you, just face to face, man to man. Common wisdom among our kind would say that the beast is to be pressed down, suppressed in every way. And that is true. It should not be in control. But one thing I have come to learn, or at least I would think so, is that many times when the beast is the strongest, it is when it feeds off that which is still human in us. Normal courtesy, normal convention, I suppose, would have you apologize to me. But we are family, and in this situation, above many others, I completely and wholeheartedly understand why the beast would take you. You have nothing to apologize for.
Thank you, he says calmly.
I know you do not want a story, but you're getting one anyway. No, do you know much of Europe in the
Um,
earliest days of the 20th century?
Academics 2, he probably would have some idea, but not an expert. He says, I know a little bit. History was never my strength, but I remember something from school.
Hmm. Well, in 1905, 6, up until the Great War, and before that, there was rumblings, but it was a time of great advances for humankind. And for me, it was the first time I'd felt happy for the better part of 200 years, give or take. I'd met a ravishing, ravishing person. Breathtaking. And the person was aware, it was another kindred. I did not believe that love was the capability of our kind. And do trust me in this, we've never shed blood, and we never did. We loved each other with everything we were. But, well, she was taken from me. Whatever the case, Ghost, I know that you were not romantically involved, but I'm quite sure that the feeling I had as the world descended into chaos and madness was quite the state of my mental world for the better part of 50 years. As the two great wars swept the globe, I descended into a depression that almost ended my own life. It can take time, and if he is no longer among us, do know that there is ways of handling grief. And, most importantly, the more you grieve, the more you are painful that a person, a human, is gone. The more you know that you are still human. Take that as a very, very important lesson.
Not.
You grieve because you can. You have empathy. You have feelings. If you first tried to rid yourself from them, or did not have them, you would not be 1 inch better than the Sabbat. But you are. And that is why I'm proud of you and to call you family.
Thank you, he says, and me, like genuinely, with a genuine voice. Thank you, he says. It's what I like. You can see a kind of determination in his eyes that it's not. It isn't the kind of thing that is close to spilling over into losing control again, but it is very, very like it is a mix of determination and anger. And he looks at you and at Theodore and says, "Did you ever catch the one who who did that?
I handled the person.
He smiles.
Well,
And I want revenge, he says.
well, I think you're in luck on that department. I don't think you are the only one. The entire Cameron of this city will, one way or the other, hunt this person down as they should. But vengeance is not always as easy. I did find him eventually, but he was in a court, and I had no clear evidence. I did, quite intrusively so, try to grasp at what he knew, but I do not know. It seems as though someone had damaged his mind. This was 40 years later, so well,
Hmm.
there was no exactly whether he had been so careless to diabolize her. I cannot tell. I did not have that much time before my anger took me over. Here I am. You're sitting in your grief. I should let you speak, but my narcissism takes me. I am truly sorry.
He shakes his head. Don't apologize. He says, I don't quite know. I don't quite know what to say. I was. I've. I've. If she is truly gone, I have lost a part of myself that I will never get back, even if I live to be 1,000 or 2,000 years. And
And
for,
worse, you have a person like me closer to you. I'm
he
sorry, a poor attempted figure. I'm terribly sorry.
he smiles and shakes his head. Family is what keeps me sane, or as close to sane as one of our kind can be, he says, with a bit of a smile on his face.
Hmm. Well, I know that quite a few of the people I know back in the old world would condone this sort of, what do they call it, sentimental talking, bonding. I am an elder. I should hold myself so much higher, look down at them. But that, I believe, is giving you a lot more of your humanity. If you are such a loathsome individual who would only look down at those younger than oneself. But then again, I am not your typical elder or kindred in all honesty.
Adrian smile. Adrian doesn't do anything. Damien, on the other hand, smiles and says, "No, no, sir, and we've. I know that I am grateful, at least for all of your help."
Oh, and by the way, welcome to our, for the moment, new Warren.
He nods. I like it. He says, it is better than what we had what we've had, I think.
I cleared out the debris in the end and, well, installed some protection. Also, the other way, the one you are familiar with, which came in now, and I have installed, I have two other ways to get, what shall we say, make an speedy escape from here. Four exits. I believe that as long as it is kept secret, of course. I will not tell you of the two others, of course. I will deem that as time progresses, but this should be a fairly good refuge for us for the moment. I'm quite certain that no one would either think to look here for the moment. Well, for the moment. But I will show you around later.
Thank you. It'll be good to have a place to call our own.
Well, I shall run a bit.
Thank you. He says, I have some
Things for the moment. As you understand, very busy. Although there are some new faces in town, which is all in all a good thing. But well,
Thank you. I will stay here for a moment. He says, I have some soul searching to do.
that is understandable.
If we have souls left, that is. He grins.
I'm quite sure.
Thank you, sir, he says again.
Again, we all need help from time to time. At some point, I will need your help, and I will not ask for anything in return. We are family, and, well, hard times are upon us, and it is in hard time that a man really shows what he is. And I must say that some have surprised me. Spillane, for one, is turning out to be quite ruefully effective.
Damien sighs, and like normally he would have scoffed at the thought of praising Spillane, but right now his like he doesn't really like nothing really seems to matter at this moment, so he just like shrugs and says, yes, Spillane is a Ventru, and he is quite capable when he puts his mind to it, I guess.
Quite so. Anyways, I will be around. I have some things to do, but I hope to see you again here soon.
You shall.
All right, very well. Yes, if you just leave in the way you know, there is a cover. I've made some alterations to the entrance, which should be alarmed. Points over to the corner. Well, there are some screens, and there's some clear, like it looks like a security system of some kind. If anyone was to enter the very front at the grate that is now covered up, well, you will know, and we will be able to get out quite easily.
He nods.
The other exits are hidden, and, well, and it points backwards. That one is quite secure and would be, well, more of an emergency option. But please, stay as long as you like. I do not believe that there's any refreshments left. Just looks at the jugs. But
Yeah. Well, sorry about that. He chuckles. I was thirsty.
It is quite all right. I will be back tomorrow or later tonight, but I have certain things I need to see to. But please stay here as long as you wish.
He nods. Thank you.
He nods, and yeah, you see him begin to dress, shall we say.
Yeah.
Pack himself in, and just bows and just, in any regard, I am sorry for what happened.
Thank you. I will bounce back, he says, but I don't quite know when.
Well, I'm quite sure if a situation presents itself where vengeance is obtainable, well, you would be quite up to the challenge, I'm sure.
he smiles coldly and says, "When I get my hand," he says this quite calmly, "when I get my hands on that dying, traitorous, monstrous bitch, she will. I will not. The traditions are the traditions, and they are absolute. I will not kill her, but I will make her wish for it."
It will work as a motivation for some time. And that can be quite a long time. I am speaking of experience. But please, have a good evening. And he just slightly bows and leaves.
Yep.
So, as Damien is left alone, what courses through his mind?
A red river of vengeance courses through his mind. He is Damien is trying to come to terms with what has happened, and he's not it has only just happened, so it's not something that he can fully grasp yet. But he knows that vengeance is what is his goal now, and he will see it, whatever it takes.
With that very good and true statement, we will end our scene. Thank you very much, player, for playing, and watchers for watching. Good night.